And joining me in studio is Associate Professor Pauline Strawn, sociologist from the National University of Singapore. Pauline, thanks for joining me. The package is very comprehensive, it is wide-ranging, but I want to focus in on two areas, paternity leave and housing. What do you think prompted this move to mandate paternity leave?
Women. Well, I think that paternity leave is very important because it's really a big step forward. I know there are grouses about how, we should have more days and, maybe a bigger quantum of the leave. But we're starting from ground zero and immediately, you gain 7 days of paternity leave plus an additional. I think that's a big step forward in a fairly conservative society like ours. It's sending a right signal that, old gender norms need to make way for more liberal ones.
So a step in the right direction. Now,
Certainly.
It's laying down the law, but what about in practice? Do employers need to be persuaded to buy in? What about fathers themselves? Do you think there are reservations about even taking the leave?
Well, certainly, I think what's more important for me is what happens behind the scene, right? These measures are important because they roll out direct hit points. But more important is what the government is doing behind the scene, ensuring that employers are, for example, partnered in the WOW Fund, to roll out family-friendly, business-friendly practices where work-life integration is more successful, and create a platform where we no longer have to worry if we're absent from the office, what will happen to our careers.
That takes time, don't you think?
It takes time, but this is a bold step forward. I think we need to continue to work at this.
Then let's talk about housing. Now, a slew of changes on top of, the existing priority to first-timers. There's now a new priority allocation scheme and a rental scheme for families. Is this a big hook for you? Do you think people will bite?
I think that it is much welcomed by those who have already decided to get married and grow families, particularly in a very tight housing market like we have now, where prices are a big concern. This will be much welcome. Again, I think the big plus is what's happening behind the scene with the various ministry pulling together and Housing Minister, promising that more flats will be rolled out in the immediate future. So once you fix the tight situation and you're able to meet demand, then it really doesn't matter, right? Because everybody should be able to get a flat.
Right. Let's talk a bit about the cash incentives. Didn't seem to be too much of a wow factor this time. Do you think cash is no longer a carrot?
Oh, no. Always important, especially for those who have already decided to grow families. But then again, this doesn't come from nowhere, right? Every dollar that goes into, pro-family schemes has to come from somewhere. And increasingly, Singapore has to look after a broad spectrum of social issues. Aging is another big headache for us in the near future. So I think a balanced approach, right? You don't want to go into a situation where you end up buying babies.
Right. Let's, on a more personal note to you, then, if you had a wish list, what do you think was missing from today's package?
I don't think it's missing. I think it's just a little bit, on the silent side, and this is the WOW Fund, right? Where employers are encouraged to put in place good work-life integration policies so that flexibility is mainstream. Then it doesn't matter whether there's 7 days paternity leave or not, because there's always flexibility for parents to morph in and out.
Right, Pauline, thanks so much for your insights. And I was speaking to Associate Professor Pauline Strawn from the National University of Singapore on the new $2 billion government package to boost Singapore fertility.